If you've got imposter syndrome or you know someone with imposter syndrome, then this is the video for you. So I'm actually a bit annoyed with myself because I recorded this video, put my heart and soul in the video, I edited the video, I was getting ready to post it like a few weeks ago, and then I realized that I accidentally deleted it. Not even just normal delete, double delete. So everyone clap for Stacy for being so clever. I don't even know if I've got the same energy to record this again, but I have to do what duty says. I have to continue to record. I don't talk about imposter syndrome. So, like I said in the intro, if you have imposter syndrome or you know somebody with imposter syndrome, if they have not seen this video, send it to them because we have to overcome imposter syndrome, right? I want to start off with a definition. So, this isn't coming from me. So, we know what we're working with because how can you change something when you don't know what it is? You have to be able to recognize it, right? So, the definition that I've got of imposter syndrome is it's a psychological phenomenon where individuals, despite evidence of competence and success, experience persistent feelings of inadequacy, self doubt, and fear of being exposed as a fraud. This is a seller moment. So you have to first recognize what imposter syndrome is. And that is the definition that we're working with. So it's this constant, persistent feeling of self doubt, inadequacy. But remember, it said self doubt. It's you doubting yourself. And it's constant feelings. Another word that we saw in there was feelings. Feelings are fleeting. Okay? So even in the definition itself, you can see how much of a role you play in this imposter syndrome. No one gives this to you, you give this to yourself. And the first thing you need to do is recognize these feelings, recognize what they are, because if you don't know what these things are, how can we get rid of them? How can we sort them out? It's like when they go to those, those AA meetings. I've never been. I've just watched a couple of movies and they say something like, "Oh, I'm so and so and I have a no, what do they say? Oh, I'm so and so and I'm an alcoholic." That's what they say. Not me, that's what they say, yeah? So you have to first recognize the problem that you have because in those meetings the first thing is acceptance of, I think it's like acceptance. You can't be doubting or be in disbelief about the problem that you have. So you have to first know that you've got a problem and you do have imposter syndrome. That's the very first step. And I think that step is quite crucial because the other steps come from the knowledge and awareness that you first have this imposter syndrome. Now we can attack it. Now we know that we've got this or not me. Now we know that somebody has this problem. This person can now attack it. So the first thing I want this person to do that has imposter syndrome is to now challenge that negative self-talk. So what I mean by that is we read in the definition itself that it says persistent feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt, right? Self-doubt. You are doubting yourself, which means that you have a lot of conversations with yourself where you're quite negative to yourself. So you need to first refrain from that negative self talk. Otherwise, you can't get to a point where you're overcoming this imposter syndrome. Literally had like a coughing fit. Do you know when you got like a tickly cough? That's what I had. Anyways, we move. So what I was talking about is you need to stop this negative self-talk and actually replace it with things that are quite positive about yourself. Because you're very used to being negative to yourself, it's very difficult for you to switch and start being positive for yourself. Instead of being so self-critical, now give yourself like some positive affirmations, positive things that you can say about yourself and continue doing this for a period of time. You have to reframe your mind because you're very good at being negative and rude to yourself. You're the best at it. You deserve an Oscar because you're the best at it. You need to flip that around and start to think about some of the things, the accomplishments that you've actually achieved to kind of affirm the affirmations that you're saying about yourself. So instead of being very self critical, be more positive to yourself and give yourself those affirmations with evidence, because the achievements is evidence that what you're saying is true. You're not just saying it and pulling it out of thin air. And you've all got accomplishments, like you've all got accomplishments. The fact that you can't even think of a single accomplishment is showing you how negative that you are to yourself. The second thing that I want you guys to focus on is focus on facts, not feelings. You need to put a demarcation between what is fact and what is feeling. Like we said in the definition, it's saying that it is a feeling, it's a persistent feeling. So is that factual? Why are we taking our feelings and making them factual and basing our whole life around how we feel? We need to separate what is fact and what is feeling, what is emotion, what is reality. Because the things that you're doing, wait, fact, feeling, reality, emotions. I don't want to mix that up. Separate what's fact and feeling, guys. The things that you're saying to yourself, be honest with yourself. Sit down with yourself. Is what you're saying true? Is it really true? Or are you just saying it because you feel bad? You're just saying it because you don't have anything else better to do with your time. Really think about the things that you're saying to yourself and base it more on, let's be more logical. Let's think more logically. Let's think clearly. And I know especially for us women as well, we go through so many hormonal things, especially when it's the time of the month, even before the time of the month and after the time of the month. Like the feelings and the emotions are just everywhere. So can you really base all your feelings and think that this is rational? Because half the time your hormones are like this because of the time of the month, and then the other time your hormones are like this because it's pre or post. So we have to think logically through all of this. So you need to sit down with yourselves, ladies. Sit down with yourself and think, is what I'm saying, is this factual or is it based on my feelings? And if it's based on my feelings, feelings are good, yes, because they can advise you and warn you about certain things. But if it's based on my feelings, should I take this as the truth? You're taking the feelings as gospel. There's only one gospel, and it's Jesus Christ, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Read it in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. If you don't know where it is, that's the only gospel. That's the truth. Anything else, all of these feelings that you've got about yourself, they're not true. They're just feelings. And feelings are fleeting. Feelings are fleeting. 1 minute you're happy, next minute you're sad. Next minute you're angry. Next minute you're like, can we base this? Can we base our life on this? It's given instability. It's really given instability. So I need you guys to really focus on facts and not feelings. Okay? That's number two. Number three, stop comparing yourself to other people. The reason you have imposter syndrome is because you're looking at this person and their achievements and how much better they've done in life and how successful they are. But then you have a reflection on yourself and say, well, I've not achieved that thing. So that means that I'm not worthy, or that means that I'm not great, and that means I'm quite rubbish. Can you just think about what you're doing to yourself when you're doing these things? You're comparing yourself to someone else. And the issue you have when you're comparing someone to someone else is because you're just seeing someone's highlights, and you're looking at the highlights and thinking, oh my gosh, they're the best person in the world. You're just seeing the good parts. And then you're just thinking about, because you live with yourself 24/7, you're always with yourself. So now you're reflecting on how good their life appears to be. Keyword appears, because they're just showing you what they want you to see. And you're reflecting and looking at yourself. You're looking at their Instagram picture when they're looking really nice in the nicest dress, shoes, everything, and you're sitting there in your bonnet in the dark eating chips, and you're comparing those two narratives. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Stop looking at other people, looking at their achievements, and stop comparing yourself to them. I always say, if God wanted you to be that person, you would be, and that's the end. God doesn't mess about with those sorts of things. That's the end of that. The fact that that person is achieving X, Y, Z, it doesn't mean that you also can't be great. You can. You're wasting too much time looking at someone else instead of working on what you've got, and instead of growing in the gift and skills that you have. You're too busy wasting all your time looking at someone else. Whilst they are focusing on themselves, you're also focusing on them. So when they elevate, you're still in the same position because you can't be bothered to stop looking at them and look at yourself. Face your front, face your own front. You've got too many things that you need to work on. We don't have time to sit and look at other people and give ourselves a pity party and say, wow, they're amazing, they're so great. It means that I'm not great, I'm not doing enough. I don't it's just a very cynical cycle that you get yourself into. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Yeah? You yourself are also great. You have to allow yourself to be. Focus on yourself. When you really and truly focus on yourself, you will literally see you don't have time. You don't even have time to look at them. You're too busy. You're too busy sorting out your life. You're too busy doing this project, that project. You're way too busy for that. You don't have time. Stop looking at other people. Just focus on yourself. Yeah? Next, I need you guys to kind of embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. What I mean by mistakes, though, is you do something and it doesn't work out. So a lot of people give up, and that's the end of their story, and that's it. They don't do anything else. But the way you need to flip it, I'm trying to reframe your mind, flip your mind, is if it doesn't work, try something else. It just means that version didn't work. You need to try a different version and try that. If that doesn't work, it means not yet achieved. Instead of saying it's a mistake, I'm a failure, you've not yet achieved. It means the what's it called, that you will achieve at some stage, at some point. It just means you're not there yet. And look at them as learning opportunities. Like if something didn't work here, think, okay, it didn't work. What about if I do this? Will it work then? And if it doesn't, this. Stop looking at these mistakes and failures as incompetence, because you're figuring it out. You're figuring something out, and you will achieve if you continue to be consistent. Continue to be consistent in the right things, yeah. And you're following the will of God for your life. You will get there. You literally will get there. It just doesn't come in the time frame that you want it to come. It might come in a year. It might come in 10 years. It might come in 5 years. I'll give you a story. You know Colonel Sanders, Colonel, what's his name? Colonel. I think it's Colonel Sanders, the guy that invented KFC. You know his recipe was rejected 1,009 times. 1,009 times before it's approved and accepted. And I keep saying the hot wing slap. I don't know who was rejecting the recipe. Me, first time, you're in. Come on, let's make this chicken. But 1,009 times it was rejected. That's just showing you how many different versions of that recipe he had to do to finally get it, to finally get approval. He had to do so many different versions. And now I hold my hands up. Who would try something 1,009 times to get it? That guy was determined. It's because he had purpose in mind. He knew that this was going to work. He probably was looking at these recipes and thinking, okay, I need to tweak it here. I need to tweak it here. I need to tweak it here. And you continue tweaking till you get to the final product. You continue tweaking till you finally get there. The problem with many people is that they make one thing, one mistake, or they call themselves a failure and they quit. And they quit. These things that are worthwhile in this life don't come easy, guys. They do not come easy. I have to play the long game with these things. But stop looking at these things as failures. Look at them as learning opportunities. Okay, this didn't work. What can I learn from this? How can I grow? We need to have a growth mindset, people. How can I grow from this? Okay, that didn't pan out the way I wanted it to pan out. What does this mean? What can I do? Once you flip your mind and you start thinking like this, I promise you, the world's your oyster. The world is literally your oyster. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Then it just becomes second nature. You don't look at things and think they're failure. You just think, oh, that didn't work. Let me try something else. Let me take a quick break and try something else. It builds resilience in you. It builds a lot of resilience. And for someone who wants to make it, you need a lot of resilience. You need a lot of resilience for that. One more, one more, then I'm going. I've got things to do. The next one, or the last one I want you guys to think about, is to seek some sort of support or some mentorship of some kind. If this is a consistent thought that you have, because remember the definition, let's get it out again. It is a psychological, so it's happening in your brain, a psychological phenomenon where individuals, despite evidence of competence and success, experience persistent feelings of inadequacy, self doubt, and fear of being exposed as a fraud. So, despite success, remember we talked about facts and feelings, despite the evidence of competence and success, that's the fact, your feelings are telling you that you're inadequate, you're doubting yourself, and you're fearful. Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of the matter. Two and two is not making four right now. It's not making four right now. Can you see how much that does not make sense? If we think about it in black and white, see how much that does not make sense. You need to seek support. If this is something that you go through on a regular basis and you don't know how to snap out, because it's just a matter of snapping out of this frame of mind, you need to seek support. You need to seek some sort of mentorship. You need to seek some sort of coach. You need to seek someone who can challenge those thoughts live in real time. Because sometimes it's nice listening to these videos. Oh, Stacey's talking for another 20 minutes. Oh, that's nice. But sometimes you need something live. That thought comes into your mind, you say it out loud, and someone stops you then and there. That's not always possible, but you need to start seeking support. If this is a consistent feeling and you can't overcome this, seek yourself a coach, seek yourself a mentor, be in a community where people speak life to you. Over time, you need that change in environment. You need someone who speaks life to you constantly, speaking life to you constantly, and helping you challenge those thoughts as they come. Challenge them, flip them, challenge them, flip them. I do coach people. Also, if you want me to coach you, if you don't mind the way I speak and you want me to coach you, it's all in the bio. Everything's in the bio. But please seek some level of coaching or mentorship or community. You can't carry on like this. It's actually making me feel like you can't carry on like this. This is not a way to live your life, you know. When you think about you have one life, you can't be living it like this, guys. It makes no sense whatsoever. You can't be living it like this. I'm hoping these few things that I've said will help you to overcome this imposter syndrome. Remember, it is despite the evidence of your success, you still feel inadequate. And that feeling, no one can change that feeling for you. No one can change that feeling. You have to take control of the situation. Otherwise, you'd be feeling like an imposter for the rest of your life. You're giving yourself anxiety for the rest of your life. For what reason? We've got one life, guys. Live it right. Live it right. And live it without this imposter syndrome. Okay, lovely people. This time, I'm not finna delete this video. I'm not finna delete. If I accidentally delete it, it's not meant to be. Because how is it that I did this video, edited it, ready to post, somehow I deleted it? I don't even know. Blunder, error, we're getting there. Lovely people, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, ciao.